This is Sunday Live with Jeff Koinange and Olive Barrows.
And welcome to the very last Sunday in October.
My birthday month is coming to an end.
Oh, I hope you've had a good month.
As Libras, it has been a good month.
Yeah?
Yep.
We've got a great story today on recruitment in the Middle East, right?
Yes, we do.
How many people showed up? Like thousands.
According to Seth Olale, about 23,000.
To apply for
Over the
jobs
course.
in the Middle East.
Friday, Saturday, today.
An extension till tomorrow?
Yes.
And we're going to have the Labor and Social Protection CS, Alfred Mutua.
Yes, in studio.
Yeah.
Explaining what the terms of engagement are.
Yeah.
And also, he says we fell short technically during the recruitment exercise.
Is that right?
Yep.
That's going to be interesting. Start tweeting at Koinange Jeff.
At O Barrows at Citizen TV Kenya.
The hashtag is Sunday Live. Sunday Live begins right now.
Tonight.
Lining up for Middle East jobs. Thousands of Kenyans jam recruitment centers in search of jobs, forcing the government to extend the exercise by a day.
Pray for me. Impeached Deputy President calls on Kenyans to pray for him, even as the hearing of his impeachment case resumes Tuesday.
Trailing suspected killer. Police obtain crucial CCTV footage of the prime suspect as 4 more individuals record statements.
A night of terror. 3 people killed, scores injured as machete-wielding gang terrorizes Mundeku residents in Butere.
And welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Yulanzale. Now, activist Boniface Mwangi will spend the night at the Kamkunji police station after he was arrested on Sunday morning at his home over alleged incitement to violence after he called for protests during a marathon held on Sunday.
Mwangi is expected in court on Monday, even as the Law Society of Kenya and other activists demand his release. With more details is O'Day Francis.
CCTV footage captured 5 men and a woman, believed to be police officers, entering and positioning themselves around Boniface Mwangi's house.
Around 7:15, my son called me and told me that the police are in the house and they've come to pick Dad. He's been taken because of the Stanchart marathon. He sent something about Occupy Stanchart, and it was very clear.
In Stanchart, Occupy Stanchart, the whole message was to end femicide in Kenya.
At 8:16 a.m., Boniface Mwangi is seen living with these officers. Some are wearing masks, while others are not. All this happening in front of his family.
My son watched all this. What happens to children, our children as they're growing up, watching these things happening? Not knowing whether their father is going to come back home, not knowing if he will even get to where he's going.
The Law Society of Kenya blames the police department for negligence in following the law and constitution for its citizens.
People will believe that the police are being used to infringe on people's rights, that the police are a sign of violence, police are a sign of abductions, police are a sign of violation of human rights.
He was taken to Kamukunji police station with the officers leaving, claiming to await further orders.
You ask them, why are you holding him? They're saying we're just waiting for orders from above. Even the officers who arrested him, they were very clear that they were merely following orders. So when did this country become a land that is governed by orders?
This incident occurs 3 days after the police department released statistics showing over 300 cases of disappearances and murders recorded this year. Boniface Mwangi is expected to appear in court tomorrow. Odi Francis, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
President William Ruto has called on leaders to spread the message of unity across the country, saying the country risks instability if politicians continue to divide the country.
That's right. While attending Sunday Mass in Uasin Gishu County alongside MPs from UDA and ODM, the president defended his administration and called for Kenyans to back his agenda. Let's get more from our very own Stephen Leto.
In what appeared a broad-based Sunday Mass, President Ruto led MPs from his UDA party and the ODM party in Moiben constituency, Uasin Gishu County. Amid a protracted legal battle over the impeachment of his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, President Ruto now wants elected leaders to take a lead in preaching unity across the country.
Sote tuliobata baraka hiyo ya kuwa viongozi, tufanye bidii tuunganishe wananchi wote wa taifa letu la Kenya. And I want to encourage all of us as leaders, the unity of our nation, the unity of the people of Kenya. In unity, we have strength. We can walk together. We can overcome every challenge when we are united.
Head of state reiterated that lack of unity threatens the country's fabric and told the Moiben congregants that the country requires a political tone down so as to pull Kenyans together into achieving his government's agenda.
And that is why I will not relent in making sure that we unite all the people of Kenya in our quest and in our mission to transform our nation and to have a prosperous, peaceful, and God-fearing nation. Mtuombee kama viongozi, kama Wakristo, ndio Kenya iweze kuunganika na tuweze kwenda pamoja.
ODM leaders who accompanied President Ruto, including Migori Senator Eddie Oketch and Homa Bay Town MP Peter Kaluma, used the opportunity to assure the North Rift region that the Orange Party is fully backing President Ruto's administration.
I can assure you that even if you don't build roads for our country, even if you don't build this economy, but you leave us with a country that is united of one people, this country will stand stronger than any economy in the world.
Within the ODM fraternity, which you know, and within our people whom you know very well, huwa tunasema babako akiwa uchi, mtu atupe au aweke nguo juu yake, huyo mtu anakuwa babako. Naona hata nikiongea Your Excellency, bado wanauliza hii watu wamekuja kweli. Hatutoki.
Your Excellency, kama Karuma ako kwa serikali, tunaweza kuwa watu wa aina gani sisi tutoke kwa serikali turudi kwa msitu? Hatuwezi kubali kurudi kwa msitu, tuko kwa serikali na tutakuombea Mungu.
Tuko nyuma yako Rais na tutakuunga mkono kwa maneno yote yale ambao unatuongoza na unaongoza jamii na taifa letu la Kenya.
The ODM lawmakers also used the opportunity to call on the president to sustain campaigns for Raila Odinga in his bid for AU Commission top seat.
Because we have never known you to fail in anything. To fail in anything. Do you believe the president can fail to take Baba to Addis Ababa? Yeah, so before he goes, you will come to Homa Bay and he will hand us over as his children to you so that you can pray together.
President Ruto also pledged to streamline the rollout of the Social Health Insurance Fund to benefit all Kenyans. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Now, at the same time, impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has asked Kenyans to pray for him, even as he prepares to fight for his political survival in court.
Gachagua, who is engaged in a court battle to overturn his ouster, said the country is bedeviled by numerous challenges, including overtaxation, a failing health system, and deteriorated economy.
As our very own Serafine Achieng Oma reports, Gachagua urged Kenyans to pray for wisdom for President William Ruto to guide the country in the right direction.
Impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua spent his Sunday in his central Kenya backyard, joining worshippers at St. James SCK Cathedral in Kiambu town. This being his first church appearance since his impeachment. Gachagua, who was accompanied by his wife, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, and a host of his political allies, would use the platform to paint a grim picture of the current state of the nation.
Our people are feeling helpless because of economic adversities, because of overtaxation, because of failing health systems, and the president has a big job to do. We want to ask prayers for him.
Gachagua pleaded for prayers for President William Ruto in what seemed as an attempt to demystify any perception of existence of bad blood between him and the country's first-in-command, who until his impeachment was his boss.
We want to ask the people of Kenya to remain peaceful, and we want to ask the people of Kenya to pray for our president, Dr. William Ruto, to give him wisdom to navigate the challenges affecting the Kenyan people.
Gachagua is currently fighting for his political life in court after he challenged his impeachment. On Tuesday, a 3-judge bench will start hearing an application seeking to lift conservatory orders blocking the swearing-in of a new deputy president. The 3-judge bench on Friday declined to recuse themselves from the case. Safin Acheng Oma, Citizen TV.
Now, Kenya Party leader Martha Karua now claims there is a special abduction squad that is operating with the blessing of the government to suppress the freedoms of expression and human rights.
That's right. Karua said the squad operates under instructions to silence individuals who often criticize President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza administration.
The Now Kenya leader warns that the establishment of such groups is uncalled for, saying elected leaders must respect the constitution.
We have credible sources who have indicated that there is a special abduction/killer squad, which is comprised of both police and army officers. And this squad, we are told reliably, is based somewhere in Karen, near the DP's residence, and another wing of it is based in Orepolos, in Kajiado. These people also are joined, and mainly this squad is drawn from Dr. Ruto's ethnic community. We are not saying it's all members of the community, but this squad is made up of people he has picked from his community. They are also joined, we are reliably told, by foreigners, fellow East Africans from Burundi, from DRC, and from Uganda, and God knows where else.
All right, here's our top story, folks. Listen to this. The search for elusive jobs in the Middle East continued on Sunday with a total of 23,000 job seekers interviewed for 3,000 positions available.
Majority of those who appeared before the recruitment team are said to have been knocked out during practicals. As Seth Olale reports, the government has extended the exercise by half a day to allow more people try their luck in the engineering and health sectors.
A rush against time for thousands of job seekers trying to make the 3,000 personnel cut for job vacancies in Qatar. By Sunday evening, 20,000 plus job seekers in the hospitality, engineering and health industries had been interviewed, even as the government extended the recruitment exercise to Monday midday. 46-year-old Yasmin Rahab, a resident of Mombasa, was among hundreds who were turned away at the KICC recruitment center.
Mtoe hiyo age limit ndo nitaomba tu serikali yetu Mradi una nguvu zako, unaweza fanya kazi. Umri si chochote.
The mother of 3 who worked as a domestic worker in Saudi Arabia between 2021 and 2022 says the successful candidates need to have perseverance.
Je, una watoto nyuma ndugu yangu. Ndio umeenda umetukanwa, chakula unakula makombo. Unajua makombo? Makombo. Sasa niambie ukianza kusema mimi nimesoma, sitokula. Masomo itabaki wapi wewe? Itabaki hapa.
39-year-old Eric Ogende, a driver with 17 years of experience from Kisii County, was also turned away at KICC, where only qualified nurses were granted a chance to be interviewed.
Ndio niliingia nikanunua soda moja, nimekunywa hadi asubuhi. Bado niko hapa sijaoga. Saizi nafikiria jinsi ya kurudi wapi? Kurudi Kisii, sina nauli, sina chochote kile.
A section of job seekers claiming that the recruitment exercise has since been hijacked by brokers demanding hefty bribes.
Unapata agent anakukujia, wacha nikupe namba alafu ulipe commission. Na Alfred Mutua alisema vizuri, we are not supposed to pay anything.
So right now we've had a zero corruption incidents. We had a few problems at KCC. We called the DCI and the people ran away. Who are coming in pretending, oh, I can clear you, I need 10,000, I need 100,000, bring your passport. Ile ukora ya Kenya.
Kwa nini watuite hapa na wanajua washatosheka na watu, already washachukua watu, alafu wanakuja hapa kutuambia tuende Kabete, sijui tuende wapi.
At the Kabete National Polytechnic, a similar exercise was conducted for thousands of semi-skilled personnel who turned up to try their luck. Old Anna Mumbi, an electrical engineering student from Nakuru, was the only female in this male-dominated lot who qualified to the last stage of electrical assembling and installation. Upon assessment by the recruiting agency, Mumbi was enlisted for the dream job in Qatar.
What a man can do, a woman can do it better. Because nilikuwa motivated, because unapatanga uko motivated na other groups.
But unlike Mumbi, thousands of job seekers here were disqualified at the preliminary stages, especially during practicals.
Mtu anakuja hapo anajifanya ni fundi wa mawe. Anaambiwa atengeneze mawe, wanakuta halfway through jamaa juu vile anafanya. Mwingine anajifanya ni fundi wa chuma, mwingine anajifanya. Kwa hivyo wanataka watu ambao wameiva.
While reiterating that there are no charges for securing an interview slot, Labour CS Alfred Mutua says it's upon the hiring companies to introduce extra costs for qualified candidates. Interviews for qualified drivers and engineers are among recruitment exercises that will be conducted on Monday at the Kabete National Polytechnic.
For thousands of Kenyans who have trekked for months, years, this opportunity is a do or die for them, hoping that they will make the final cut. What many more job seekers want is an opportunity to demonstrate their skills, even if it means earning something to sustain their livelihoods. Seth Olale, Citizen TV at the Kabete National Polytechnic in Nairobi County.
All right, on the heels of that, just a reminder, we have the Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection in the House. He's actually right here in the studio, here to answer your questions and comments. What is it you'd like to know? Because 23,000 jobs for 3,000 people, that's...
I'd like to know if he expected that number of people to turn up.
Should be interesting. We'll get to him in a really short while. In the meantime...
A family in the Kariobangi area of Nairobi is engulfed in distress. This follows the disappearance of their son. Seth Ruben Okoth, a KCSE candidate, was last seen on Sunday night in the Lucky Summer area.
That's right. His sudden disappearance has left his family deeply worried. And as our very own Ben Kirui reports, another family in Machakos County is mourning the loss of their son, 17-year-old Abel Mwendwa, a KCSE student at Katelembo Center of Excellence, who drowned while swimming at a dam near the school.
As thousands of KCSE candidates across the country continue with their examinations, which began last week, a family in Machakos County has been plunged into mourning after their son tragically drowned while swimming in a dam near his school. 17-year-old Abel Mwendwa, a candidate at Katelembo Center of Excellence, was returning home when the incident occurred.
Nilikuwa kwanza kufika kuangalia kijana. Asikuharibu wakati niliingia kwa maji on the spot. Ajenye nilifanya nilifika nikaona kijana hana nguo. Sasa na yeye ni kijana mnono. Sasa nikajaribu kumshika nikaona ile kung'ang'ana naye. Kitambo nitoke kamba iletwe akazama kwa maji.
On Sunday, angry parents stormed the school to demand for answers from the management.
Nikaweza kujaribu kumuuliza nini iliape ni shule. Mwalimu mwenye alikuwa on duty. Nikajaribu kumuuliza nini ilitokea pale shule. Akaniambia yeye ana ruhusa ya kunieleza haswa kilicho happen kwa sababu yeye kama ni watoto kufukuzwa alikuwa ameachiwa list. Kwa hivyo yeye alifuata maagizo ya mwalimu mkuu.
Tumekuja kujua mtoto wetu alifanya nini kwa sababu jana ndio nilifikiwa simu saa 9 hapo saa 8:30 saa 9. Alafu wakati nilifikiwa simu na dadangu nikatoka nyumbani nikakuja mpaka hapa Machakos. Nikakuja kabla sijapika hapa shuleni nikapigiwa simu na huyo dadangu akaniambia nikuje Motenzuma wameshatoka mahali mtoto alikuwa ameambiwa ameingia kwa maji.
Police in Machakos are investigating claims that Abel was sent home to collect school fees, a claim denied by the school principal.
Nilipigiwa simu na mtoto wangu Abel Mwendwa akaniambia kwamba ametumwa school fees. Cha kumuuliza nilimuuliza mbona mwalimu mkuu hajaweza kunipigia simu communicate kama mnaenda nyumbani. Akaniambia mama hapo sijui itabidi umpigie simu.
Meanwhile, in Nairobi's Lucky Sama area, another family is in distress after their son Seth Ruben Okoth, a Form 4 candidate at Our Lady of Fatima in Kariobangi, went missing a week ago. Seth was last seen at home on Sunday.
So on Monday morning when we woke up, we couldn't find him.
Seth was on Sunday last week when he was sitting down here in the sitting room and he was having a meeting with his friends. We are Seventh-day Adventists. So he was just having the meeting as usual. Then I left for the bedroom to sleep. So the next morning, waking up, I found the door locked.
If maybe he had the exam and he decided to go into hiding, something like that, I'll just tell him if he is having some worries, if he cannot reach any of my parents or my siblings or anyone, can he just try to reach to me?
The family alongside the school community is now appealing to anyone with information about Seth's whereabouts to come forward. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
At the same time, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations is appealing for information that will lead to the arrest of Hashim Dagane Mohammed, the man wanted for the brutal murders of 3 people in Eastleigh.
As our crimes reporter Franklin Waller reports, detectives are also probing CCTV footage which has been gathered as part of evidence into the probe.
Detectives have published the image of Hashim Dagane Mohammed, believed to be the prime suspect behind the killing of 3 Eastleigh family members. They now want members of the public to share information that could lead to the arrest of the man. The suspect is wanted for the mysterious killings of Amina Abdirashid, Said Daoudi and Nusaiba Abdi. Documents under probe revealed the 24-year-old was born in Garissa County. He also served as a driver of a local school within Eastleigh. On the fateful night at 7:30 p.m., CCTV footage captured Said Daoud leaving her residence within Section 3 in Eastleigh. He went straight to a standby motor vehicle and entered the vehicle. Immediately, the vehicle drove towards Jogoo Road, and that was the last time she was seen alive. Police recovered that vehicle dumped within Wakulima Market in Nairobi. Workers at Total petrol station in Athi River told us the driver of the motor vehicle fueled the car here a few minutes to 12 in the midnight the same day. It is at this petrol station where the suspect being hunted by the police was captured by CCTV cameras fueling a motor vehicle. Investigators believe the suspect fueled here after he had dumped a body within Chumvi in Machakos County. At 12:53 in the night, the same vehicle was captured by surveillance cameras at the same spot it had picked Said Daudi. CCTV footage captured Amina Abdirashid and Nusaiba Abdi enter a lift. While in the lift, the two can be heard discussing their mother is with Hashim. When they alighted from the lift, they proceeded to where the vehicle had parked. While here, they looked worried and were hesitant to enter the vehicle. After a moment of soul searching, they got into the vehicle and the driver drove away. At 4:30 in the morning, the same vehicle was captured by CCTV cameras along Mombao Road in Parklands. It is said the vehicle was dropping a body here. At 2 p.m. the following day, the same vehicle was captured by surveillance cameras being parked at Wakulima Market in Nairobi. Those who were present say the driver who left the vehicle there had injuries on the head and on the hand. Police were called and recovered the motor vehicle. A suspect in police custody says Hashim called him on the fateful night and told him he had killed people. Police say the suspect, who is being treated as an accomplice, stayed together with the main suspect at a rented house within Eastleigh. Meanwhile, 4 family members have recorded their statement with the police as part of the probe. Among those grilled is the husband to Aris Daudi. Franklin Wala, Citizen TV.
Really sad story there.
Devastating.
Let's hope they get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I really hope they get justice.
Exactly. All right, on that note, we're going to take our first break here on Sunday Live. Let you know the Cabinet Secretary for Labour and Social Protection is in the house, Dr. Alfred Mutua, to answer your questions.
That's right.
Recruitment drive the last few days.
Yes,
23,000 people showed up.
Ask him.
He was there. He was there. We're going to be asking him about that. What are the jobs in the Middle East? And, of course,
terms of engagement.
Yeah, TORs.
Yeah, who's going to pay for the airfare? Where are they going to stay?
Yep. And what kind of jobs? Do you have any questions and comments? Send them right through at Kanenga Jeff.
At O Burrows at Citizen TV, Kenya.
The hashtag is Sunday Live. Sunday Live takes a break. We'll be back in the meantime. It is exactly 33 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live here at Citizen Television. On to our interview of the evening. Cabinet Secretary for Labour and Social Protection, Dr. Alfred Mutua, is in the house. Following that story that we aired a short while ago about thousands of people lining up for jobs in the Middle East.
Be sure to send your questions because the questions are coming in fast and furious.
They are.
There's already one here from Jessica who's asking, ask Mutua how this contract came along. Is it government doing recruitment? If so, what's the purpose or role of licensed recruitment agencies? Why charge recruitment agencies 500K? Then government goes ahead and does recruitment. Is this fair? She asks. Yeah, but I'll start with the 3,000 slots available.
Yes. Actually, the slots are 8,000 slots.
In total?
8,000 slots. What we decided to do was to divide it into sections. Let's see whether we can get to the mark point of 3,000 this time as a first round. And then as we get our things organized, go for the others. So we are hoping that by end of tomorrow, we'll have gotten to that figure of 3,000. Then the team will come again in a few weeks' time to continue with the recruitment. Yeah. So initially it was 7,000. I went to Qatar, pushed, opened doors, made it 8,000. And this is a transition from a country where traditionally it's been the low-level jobs. You know, it's they're all good jobs though. Your security, your house help, and all that. Now we're moving to the professional arena. They don't have any nurses from Kenya. They don't have doctors from Kenya. They don't have managers, senior managers from Kenya. So we open up that channel, that ability for Kenyans to go and work there. And I want to push so that we can get ICT experts and other professionals with degrees and diplomas to go and work in that country.
So we are saying that this time round you're doing 3,000 in this first phase.
Yes.
There are a total of 8,000 jobs available in Qatar.
In Qatar.
Same company?
One company has given us 8,000. I mean, when the Minister for Labour was here of Qatar, Dr. Ali, I was able to push him to get an additional 200,000 jobs. Currently, there are 67,000 Kenyans working in Qatar, different fields. If we can get 200,000 jobs in Qatar, it's good for us because it means that we'll be able to absorb a lot of people who've come out of school with degrees, diplomas in hospitality and others who are sitting at home without any work as we wait for this economy to grow. You know, many people are asking a question you may ask is, why are you pushing for job migration? Our President, William Ruto, has been very clear. We are on track to grow the economy. Currently, we have, over 5 million unemployed people. Unemployment rate is quite high in this country, 5.6%. So for us to be able to grow the economy, to absorb the people who are coming in, it will take time. So in the meantime, we are finding people opportunities to work and make money as we grow the economy. And it's also a brain gain because they go there and get a lot of good techniques, good working habits, and they come back here and help build our country.
Brain gain as opposed to brain drain? Exactly,
because we have a large expense. Let me ask you, if you look at the number of nurses that graduate every year, the number of people graduating every year. We've got about 1 million people graduating every year in a country that can only absorb 200,000. I mean, that's a story, of our life. And that's where we want to grow the economy so we can absorb more. So you get 800,000 trained people in different fields who are just sitting here. And when they go, and this has been a very good experience, when they go overseas, they're able to gain skills of how better to do things, especially as we go into the arena of technology and doing things. It is funny. This company that is recruiting is very strict. And I'm very proud to say that I think for the first time in a long time, people are being recruited based on what you're bringing to the table. Nobody cares your tribe, where you came from, your gender. Nobody cares. You get to the recruiting center in the morning, there is nobody who is trying to say, "Haya, huyu apite mbele." Hakuna. It's first come, first serve. And you all go to the room, nobody is passing anybody. You get your documents, you are pre-screened. If you don't pass, you go. If you pass, you follow the line. And then you are interviewed. And many people are flopped, unfortunately. You find that out of maybe 100 people interviewed, 5 are taken because of the standards are very high. This is a country that is in the first world in terms of technology and the way they operate. So you have to be very good at what you do. So many people, the first day was a big joke. A few days ago, people came. I mean, you're coming for an interview wearing a hoodie. People came to interview wearing sneakers. No, they can't get shoes, You can even borrow a suit from somebody. People came wearing T-shirts, Hata sengenge ni ng'ombe, I mean, you're coming for a job interview.
No, but if I'm coming for a job to support construction.
Yeah. No, I mean, these are coming for hospitality jobs. Even for construction, you need to look neat. You need to be organized. You need to wear good shoes or whatever shoes you are. You get an overall from somewhere so that as you do your wiring, you look the part. And so it is a process for Kenyans to also know that looking for a job is also a job. You have to have the right figure. Today, there was a young man who was annoyed because they refused to interview him because he had a beard. And he said, "Wananiambia nikanywe, sitaki kunyoa. They should interview me hata kama beard." Wakasema, "But the work you're doing, you can't go and start serving people in a restaurant, in a hotel, with a beard. That's the industry standards." It's like telling the military, "I want to join the military, lakini nitaenda uko na rastas, nitaenda na afro. Hey, you must take me." You know what I mean? So people have to realize that you are employed to work in a company, and the company has preferences of the kind of people it wants to employ.
Were there agents involved? Was there some payment involved?
Yes. There's no agents involved. I had the first question you read. The problem we've had, and this is what I've been trying to correct since I got into this ministry, the problem we've had in this country when it comes to job migration has been in corruption. People have been conned. People have killed themselves because they have paid thousands of shillings, hundreds of thousands. People have sold their shambas, and agents have eaten their money. It's a very, very, very bad thing. Currently, as we speak, we've got 5,000 Kenyans stuck in Qatar, living as refugees in Qatar, who are taken there during the World Cup period. Some of them promised jobs that never actually realized themselves. And because they have paid 200,000, 250,000, they refused to come back home. They are staying there until they get a job from somebody. So that's one of the issues that I'm dealing with. 5,000 Kenyans who are being fed by the International Organization for Migration every day. In Qatar, it's happening all over. And it's because of these rogue agents in our country that are doing these things. So when you hear people asking, oh, is this a government thing? Because all of them wanted to participate. And the first day at KICC, we had agents who came who are not part of the game, started to charge people, bring 100,000, bring your passport, I'll take it through. Ukora, you know, we discovered a vehicle with about 40 passports. Somebody already collected people's passports, you know, so that you can give money. So what you're trying to do is also clean the system so that it doesn't matter, you know, you can come, and what we're asking people to do is this. You come in, when you're interviewed, you pay nothing at all. Once you have been interviewed and you second interview and you get a job, there'll be some fees that you'll need to pay, definitely. For example, nobody will pay for you to do medicals, because once you do your medicals and you fail, the company hiring you should not absorb your failure rate. You know what I mean? Because you have failed your medicals. There are other small costs of processing, but very little. And those are costs whereby you know where your money is going. You know, and if you pay a fee and you fail your medicals, then the rest of the money for the processing is returned to you because you're not traveling. So I want to keep this as clean as possible so that people know that I am doing something. You know, I'm not being asked for money. I'm not being asked to provide, to go sell my shamba so I can get a job, providing opportunities for people.
So which company is this that has its finger in the pie of hospitality, nursing, construction?
It's a multi, how do you call it? It's a mega company. It's a company that is involved in hoteling, in medical, in construction, in agriculture. It's a huge holding company with several companies within it. So we've got several companies working all over the Middle East, from Algeria to Libya to Qatar to Saudi to Qatar to, you know, all those, and Dubai. But it is a Qatar company, you know, with a big holding. It's a very huge company, you know, a multi-trillion-dollar company. And so it has the ability to absorb. Its workforce currently is in the excess of 65,000 people in different tiers. They own 5-star hotels, they own 5-star hospitals, they own factories for this and that. So they have the ability to recruit. And I was talking to the CEO, the owner of the company the other day, and they're so happy with what is happening in Kenya. He said that they're increasing our quota by another 20%. So that means we can get up to 10,000 Kenyans to work for that company.
Is it true that people came in all the way from Moyale and
people came from us very far. I was being told a story this morning about some young men came all the way from Busia, from Western Kenya, and they were lining up at 6 o'clock in the morning. They were the first people. And the good thing is that they got hired, you know. Others came from as far as Moyale. You know, people are sleeping at the gate. You know, people came from Nyahururu, could not go back home because the line couldn't get to them in the morning, so they slept there at KICC, you know, in the grounds of KICC at night, so that in the morning they would be there to get a job. And, you know, this is what the lady you showed here in the story that you gave woke up in Nakuru, came the whole night. I mean, she traveled the whole night, came early in the morning to be tested, and now she got hired. She doesn't have a godfather. She saw the story on television, in the newspapers, and she came. She put her papers together. She followed the instructions. She got some little money. She came and she got a job. She didn't have to know Mutua. She didn't have to know her local MP or the president or anybody. This is for Kenyans, because William Ruto in campaigning said, mtoto maskini na mtoto wa tajiri watakaa meza moja. And this is what we want to push, that you don't need to know somebody. The job of government is to provide you an opportunity to be able to lift up your life. Kenyans don't want a handout. Young men and women in Kenya, they want a hand up, and that's what this government is providing them.
So what are the terms of engagement? How long will they be employed for? How frequently will they be able to visit their families in Kenya? What happens if they get sick there? Have these things been worked out?
Yes,
and who's hosting them?
One of the things that is done is that in terms of the job contract, and I looked at it, is that you are paid a certain salary. For example, the lowest salary is about 1,000 rials. You know, it's for the cleaners and others. That's about 37 to 40,000 Kenya shillings. That's the lowest salary. But this is tax-free. You're not taxed. And on top of that, you're given accommodation, and you're given transport to work, and food while you're at work. And that's why the Middle East is very lucrative. So you don't have to go out of your pocket to pay for accommodation or some of those things, or even transport to work. And in addition to that, you're given full medical cover so that in case you're sick, you're treated. You know, it is their responsibility to treat you. You're also given holiday breaks so that you can actually get a ticket to come home, I think after 1 or 2 years, to be able to come home and see your relatives. And if you need to come home for anything, you come home anytime. So these are normal working parameters that are keeping to International Labour Organization standards. So Qatar follows the ILO standards, which we've looked at, which are the same ones we've signed in. And so they are the very good standards for employees.
And the nightmare stories, Dr. that we've heard from other parts of the Middle East, and Saudi Arabia to be in particular, do they exist in Doha as well, or are you going to make sure that these Kenyans who are going there don't go through the horrendous situations that some, not all Kenyans, go through in Saudi?
I think it was quite unfortunate what we saw publicized about Saudi and that breakdown of communication. I actually went there as a foreign minister and I sat down and listened, and it's much more complex than that. But you see, that's also targeting mostly the house helps. You know, here we are not talking just about the house helps. We are not recruiting house help in this recruitment. We are recruiting skilled workers who can be able to go and do their work and continue. One of the things I want to tell Kenyans is this, is that do not be afraid to work. I've worked in the Middle East myself. I've worked in the US, I've worked in Australia. And you look at countries like Singapore, you look at countries like China, you know, India. They have benefited a lot from their workers working overseas. Philippines, you know, have become famous for exporting their labor and getting people to work and send money home. So it is an opportunity, especially if you're young. And the contracts are mostly for 2 to 3 years, renewable, according to how you're going. But the most important thing I want to say this is that it is important to know what you're doing. There's been a very high level of rejection of people because of the skills. These guys, I may call them guys, these ladies and men who are here to interview Kenyans, they don't know about you. They don't know you're a Kamba, you're a Luo, you're a Kikuyu, you're a Masai, you're a Kalenjin, you're a Pokomo. They don't care. You know, all they want is skills. So they go through your certificates, you pass certificate, then they tell you, okay, here is a board, electrical board, can you do this? Can you connect that CCTV? Can you do the things that you've said you can do? And then they just sit and watch. You know, so if you don't know, it's very clear within a few seconds that you are lying and that you never really got that skill, because they are only hiring the creme de la creme, because they don't have time to go and train people. And they want you to go and fit with other people. Masons, ukuta, piga plaster, you know, unaharibu simiti, unaenda nyumbani. You know, you do things accordingly, and they teach you, they tell you, okay, watch me. And they do it, they tell you, do it, you know. So they are teaching people even as they train. And it's been very good, because I want to give a really praise to Kabete National Polytechnic, and the principal there is called Mr. Mushemi. He's a very sharp man and very sharp. And you can see that the training in that institute is very good. And one of the things that we've done is we have embedded the trainers of Kabete National Polytechnic with the interviewers. So they are seeing the quality that is needed out there. They are seeing what we do wrong. They are seeing what we do better than them. They are seeing the kind of questions that are being asked. Do this, and they are realizing, aha, you need to do this. Because these people are very particular about measurements, about straight lines, about getting the cement properly, about getting the wiring, the plumbing. You saw people doing plumbing, all those things. Don't waste pipes, you know. Do it properly. If it's a bend, it's supposed to be a 90-degree bend. Don't make it 92 degrees, you know. So they're also learning so they can tweak. And I hope that one day our polytechnics, our TVETs, and the Ministry of Education is doing very well. The TVETs, the PS, the way we are working, we'll have a very good skill, you know, base in our country that we can serve the rest of the world.
Because it sounds like if you're saying they've presented certificates and then they're tested, that means they should be good and they should know what they're doing.
Exactly. And so that is where now we have to keep up to international standards. Because if you have been told that you're a plumber and they tell you to do this, no, unafanya madhogodhanyo, it is very clear either you slept in class or the teaching was not up to par. And it's becoming very clear, I want to mention it's becoming very clear how some TVETs are doing. Some students of certain training institutes are passing very fast. Others are not. And that shows you the level of training, you know. Kabete National Polytechnic, they're doing very well. They are graduates when they come there, and a few others. But others are not doing very well, you know. There are some from, there's one institution from Western Kenya that is doing very well. Uasin Gishu doing very well, you know. So some of them, they are failing. And you can tell kweli, hawakufunzwa vizuri. But others, you can tell, you know, they have got the act together.
So you said out of every 105 passed, on average.
So 95 go home.
And these are the technical or across the board?
Across the board. Because even when they were doing hospitality, hiring waiters, and it's very clear, you've got your papers from Utalii, you've got all this, and you're told, okay, set the table. It's done in a 5-star hotel. And they stand and watch you, you know?
And if you can't do it?
If you can't do it, you can't do it, because those are basics.
If you don't know where the fork goes or the knife goes?
Yeah, you're supposed to know some basics. They're not even asking you the difficult things. If you're a chef, you're being asked, okay, if you're cooking this and this, what do you do? If you're a cleaner, you end up being a cleaner. Have you cleaned? Yes. You have cleaning experience? Yes. You're told, okay, you pour this kind of soup on a carpet. What chemical do you use to wipe it with?
So what are the openings that remain? Because I saw you said hospitality.
Hospitality is closed. They got people in hospitality. And they're very happy with the quality of people they're getting, even in nursing. You know, they are quite amazed by our quality of nurses in this country. You know, they can tell we've got very high quality of nurses. So we train in some areas very well. Now, we have a lot is done. For example, now for tomorrow, we've been able to extend for a day. What they are looking for are now what are called crane operators, you know, and riggers. These are people who are able to control movement of cranes. They need to be able to understand all those things. They're looking for masons. They're looking, you know, tomorrow we've closed on masons. They're looking for crane riggers. They're looking for lightweight drivers. And this is the biggest joke. And this will be at KICC. So if you're a driver, lightweight driver, it's at KICC. The crane and carpenters and steel fixers should go to Kabete, and nurses to KICC. So tomorrow we've kind of, you know, constrained. So tomorrow it's only people who deal with machinery, cranes and riggers, carpenters and steel fixers at Kabete, and lightweight drivers and nurses at KICC. Now drivers. So the failure rate for drivers is even higher. You know, so what they do is that they set lanes. They set lanes for you, and they give you a car. Can you take this car from here to there without crossing the lane or hitting the walls that have been put there? Watu wanagonga ukuta. You know, you're told to go 2 cars like this when you're going together. When you get there, turn left. They are going there, hata mwingine anatoa mkono nje. The way we do it in Kenya. You know what I mean?
Tabia za hapa.
Tabia za hapa. You know what I mean? But people are laughing and saying, actually, nimeanguka lakini nimeanguka kweli. You know, you're told this is a parking lot. You know how like you see it in Nairobi, you see it in many countries. You're told to park underground. And you park underground, it's very thin parking spaces. You're told, okay, now take your vehicle, park it underground. Majority people can't park. Can't park through thin spaces.
Basics.
You know, the basics. So people are coming back. I'm seeing people looking, go practice and come back. And they're starting noticing that if you're turning left, you signal. You know, you're turning right, you stop. So the testing is very high, it's very, very strict. But because they want to take you to their roads, which are fast roads, highways, with very, very minuscule accident rates, because everybody's a good driver.
Maybe because we are defensive drivers.
Yeah.
or always overlapping.
Defensive driving. Yeah. We're defensive drivers.
Dr. Ari, before we go to questions real quick, who's paying for the tickets to go overseas?
Okay, no, this is how it is. These Qatari people, they said that they don't believe in 100% paying for a worker. Because workers, traditionally, they have seen that with the experience in India, Bangladesh, other African countries. If a worker pays nothing and gets to their country, they have nothing to lose. After 3 months, wanachoka, I want to go home. They lost nothing, apart from just going for the interview. So they have said they're not going to pay for everything, but they are paying for the big things for them to come there. So they have paid for their people to come here and interview. Then you'll have to meet a small fee to pay for your medicals, which are yours, and maybe visa and a few other items. But the tickets to go When you get there, you're given a home to stay in. They even give you money for you to do shopping, you know, for buying furniture and a few things for your house. So they take care of all those basics when you get there. But here, as you get ready, they're not going to pay for your fingerprinting. They're going to pay for your passport. That's your job. You know what I mean? So basically, the basics that you do anywhere for any job in the world, you pay for those. But the big monies, air tickets and all those, they're paying for that. And that is how I've been able to constrain and say that no agency is going to ask money from people that I want to get these jobs for and everything. It's going to be very direct and make sure that people see that it is above board and it is transparent for everyone, because it's about giving people opportunity to be able to go. Now, they identified, because they say that government is not in the job of recruiting. You know, I can't process all this paperwork. So they identified an agent that they've been working with, who is a Kenyan registered agent, and they said, we want to work with this agent. Are you okay? I said, well, I don't know this agent. Can I see? We checked with the National Employment Agency. This agency doesn't have any problems, has worked in the Middle East. They said, sour, they can work with this agency. So that agent is the one now who will be in charge of now doing the nitty-gritties, you know, they're making sure the forms are signed, the people are lined up, the people are prepared for pre-departure training, because you have to be given a talk and told, this is how life is over there, this is the hardship, this is what happens if you get sick, if you get homesick, you know what I mean? Yeah. So all that has to be done by somebody who they will compensate that person according to their rates and rates. So they are working with one agency. And so when they tell you, we are coming to Kenya, want to work with somebody, you say, sawa, as long as that person is there. But you've got other agencies who are complaining. They've written me a long letter that why are you favoring some people and all this. Well, I'm not favoring, you know. And even one of the people who's written me a letter has cases at the DCI for conning people. You know, they are also looking at this as an opportunity to eat. And I want to tell these agencies, I'm sorry, in this government, William Ruto, as long as Alfred Mutua is in this docket, you are not going to con our people and get our people to kill themselves because of stealing from them. We are going to clean up this system. So I'm going to go regional because I can't have everyone coming to Nairobi. And lots of agencies are very good. And I'm going to work with them, tell them, bring your letters, bring your jobs that you've been given from overseas. Let's work together. Let's go to these different regions across the country in the month of November and do what you're doing in Nairobi away from Nairobi. So people don't have to come from Moyale to here. We can go set up in Marsabit. We can go set up in Turkana. We can go set up in Kericho. We can set up in Machakos. We can set up in Lamu, you know, in Malindi. So we want to go across the country, go to Vihiga, and, you know, set up, and people come and do what we're doing here in Nairobi, closer to them.
Yeah.
Will they be allowed to retain their passports once they're in the Middle East?
Yes, yes, yes. They keep your passport. That's
individuals.
You keep your passport. Nobody takes your passport in Qatar.
But salaries are non-negotiable, right?
No,
I mean,
no. You keep your passport.
Okay.
You keep your passport.
And salaries are non-negotiable. I mean, they tell you it's 170,000.
It is, yeah. That is the rate they have set. Yeah. But there are also increments over every year, according to International Labour Organization.
So you need to fill these positions by when?
The jobs that they're interviewing now, the 3,000 are needed in November and December. These are this year's jobs. So these people need to go before Jamhuri Day. Yeah, we need to get them in the country working before Jamhuri Day. And then they have given us a breakdown of these jobs all the way to around September next year. So people will be going at different times.
All right, lots of questions coming in thick and fast, folks. Let's go to the magic wall.
This is Emeje Moses, who says, what is the government's long-term plan to address the rising unemployment rate in Kenya? Shouldn't we be creating sustainable job opportunities here instead of depending on foreign labor markets?
Yes, we should, and that is where we are going. And I totally agree. You can't be shipping your people just to go and work overseas. It is complementary. They work together. So as we grow the economy, one of the things that I'm doing also is getting BPOs. These are processing organizations. The president was also in Germany trying to get car manufacturers to come and do manufacturing in Kenya. So these are going together. It's a complementary. It doesn't say that you going overseas that so we've stopped. I mean, look at these people who are working as electricians, you know? I mean, there's not enough job here at this time, but there's still work in Kenya to do. So we relieve the pressure as we grow the economy to get to that place of getting sustainable jobs.
All right, let's take a couple more questions.
Absolutely, they're coming in very thick and very fast. who's this Major Moses, says, please, Jeff and Olive, ask Waziri why the government is so quick to send nurses abroad when there is a shortage here in Kenya. Why can't they be employed here?
All right, let's take a set of questions first.
Okay.
The next question is from Vincent Sunda. People are being chased away due to experience of 3 years. Let the CS tell us, how can one get experience of 3 years without employment or a job?
One more there. CS Alfred Mutua promised opening new markets to recruitment agencies at KICC meeting. Why is this not happening? Why is he not involving licensed recruitment agencies in this move? Why didn't he support the recruitment agencies and stabilize labor migration industry? Should we answer those three?
Yeah, let's do them.
Okay, the first one is about nurses shortage.
Yeah.
The challenge we have in our country is not that there's a nurses shortage. I mean, we've got lots of nurses in our country. We have overproduced nurses. It's not that our economy is not able to absorb them. We don't have the salaries to pay the nurses to absorb them. The ratios are not too bad. Remember, I was a governor in Machakos. I was able to hire 800 nurses to serve in Machakos. So nurses are taken, but we've got more people who are nurses who can go and work overseas, who can get other opportunities. And that's what we're opening them for. Now, it ties in when they ask about 3 years experience. The 3-year experience for medical professions is not by the company or the government of Kenya. This is the regulations by the Qatar government. It has said that if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse coming to work in their country, they need you to have 3 years postgraduate experience. That's the quality they want. Those are the people they're getting from India, from Philippines, from different countries in the world, with that level of qualification. So it's a standard. It's set by the government. Anybody with less than 3 years will not get a visa. The government will refuse to give them a visa. So why hire for somebody who will not get a visa? And that's why we're trying to be as transparent and very, very clear. Now, the agency is asking about why did we're in the process. This is just the first opportunity that I've gotten to come and give Kenyans an opportunity, a job. And I'll be traveling to many other countries to get opportunities so that agencies can come and get those jobs. It is good for them to note. And this is where agencies are salivating, thinking there's money. There's hardly any money to be made here because the company we're dealing with, it is a company that was introduced to us by the Minister of Labor of Qatar. And this company does not pay agency fees.
By the way, what's the name of the company?
I don't want to mention the name of the company at this time. They don't pay agency fees. And they say, we recruit for you, we don't pay agency fees. Basically, we will provide employment for your people, but we don't give agents any fees. You know what I mean? Let people process their things and bring them here. We'll take care of this and that and that. So it becomes very difficult to tell agents, go now, I've got these jobs, but there's no agency fee. How are they making their money? You know what I mean? That's why I took it upon myself to say, okay, let me run with it as, as a representative of the Kenyan government. So there are no agency fees, so there's no conmanship. Because the work we are doing, they would be charging people 200,000 shillings, so they could recover their money, these agents. So I want them to know that this work doesn't have agency fees. There's no money to be made here. The mad people who will be making money out of this are the people being recruited because they're going to get jobs and make money into the pocket. It's a big change. But we'll get others where there are agency fees, where they can come in and compete and make their own money because they're in the industry to make money also.
So Sam Gituku asks here, what is the role of the National Employment Authority in this process?
The National Employment Authority, their job is to look at, basically ensure that the agencies are behaving, regulate the agencies, and also be able to look and make sure that everybody taking part in this process is done very well. And we've been working very well with the National Employment Agency who follow under my ministry. They had to tell me the person we're using is licensed, no case with them. They are following all this together. And actually, I was with them when we were seeking these jobs.
The business environment in the country has been decried as prohibitive on account of taxes and other measures. What is this government doing to allow businesses in Kenya create job opportunities?
Well, I think one of the things, and you've seen some of the reforms that are being done in this country, is that we want to be able to widen this tax base so that we don't concentrate on just a few people who are paying taxes, which makes it very difficult for government to raise enough revenue. You saw the whole ulabaloo during the, when we were talking about the finance bill, when people misunderstood about what was the intention of the finance bill, which is basically expand the tax base. Because once you expand the tax base, it means that you don't have to tax Olive or Jeff Koinange a lot. You know, you tax them a little, but you're taxing more people so that more areas are being taxed so that you can get more money to provide services. Education has to be paid for. Water has to be paid for. Roads have to be paid for. Medical has to be paid for. You know what I mean? So these things have to be paid by somebody. You know, government has to run and services have to be given. And so we've been in a country whereby we tax the few a lot. So that makes it very, very prohibitive. We tax companies a lot of money. But if we expand the tax base, we collect more. And President William Ruto has a very good plan to look at what we can do in mining, what we can do in agriculture. And as you know, we are building all these, factories and value addition centers across the country. You've seen them coming up. You look at what we're doing with the housing program. The housing program is doing exactly what we're trying to do here. It's hiring a lot of young people who don't have jobs to work in the housing program. It's providing thousands of jobs, which are now, in turn, providing income to the people. So there's a plan. And the plan is on track to grow this economy, to make it easier for Kenyans to live and work without paying a lot of taxes, because we broaden the base and increase the income of people in the pocket of the people of Kenya.
Look, Tari, that's a conversation for another day. We'll have to take it up, but we'll continue following this story as we go along, because 3,000 now, another 3,000, and another 2,000, 8,000 total, maybe even 10,000.
And right, my plan is within the next three weeks or so is to have more from different countries. And we've gotten offers from Australia, looking at offers from Austria, offers from Germany and all that. So I want to combine all of this and take them to the ground and take them to the road and give an opportunity for Kenyans to actually get something to do. You're told that you pay with the sweat of your brow, but you need to be given an opportunity to sweat and make money. And that's the opportunity we're giving. So it's not just about jobs, it's giving people a hand up, an opportunity to say that you can work for your life. And let me just say this as I finish, is that people coming for employment, it's difficult. And I feel, people showed up at 6, 7 o'clock at Kabete National Polytechnic. And even some were not gotten to by the evening, because the numbers are too many. And it's sad that we're getting so many people for so little jobs. But we are learning, and I know that the next and the next one will have an array of interviewers and make the system go faster. So these are, a learning process we are learning. People have waited, people have stayed hungry and all that. Even this girl that you've seen, I don't think she ate the whole day. I looked at her at the end, and she didn't look like she had eaten. I asked her, where do you come from, And you could tell people have been suffering, just waiting. But they are sacrificing because they believe that this is an opportunity. But what they loved most about the whole thing is that there's no favoritism. Hakuna mtu anajua, hakuna mtu anapitishwa. Mulikuja asubuhi mapema. You came after this person, and this person came after you, and you'll not find the person behind you going in front of you. And I think that's fairness. Kenyans just want fairness, and people are okay with that. As long as people feel like, okay, tume line up sisi wote, hakuna mtu anapitishwa back door, we are all going on the line. Ula ameingia akitoka amepata kazi hajapata kazi was in front of me, I'm not seeing a new face. That's the kind of fairness that we want to deliver as people are looking for work, so that you are judged by what time you got in and what you've been able to bring to the table.
Just a follow-up to the one on the National Employment Authority. Should they not have a database of these people with these skills, such that if an employer comes and says, I'm looking for A, B, C, D, you go, you look at the database, you say, okay, I have so and so and so and so and so. Why subject people to all these lines?
The database is there. The database is there, and within the database system, it's something I thought about quite a bit. People have gone and actually registered. But this company insisted that even with a database system, they would rather interview people themselves. And then I looked at the experience of who is in the data system, who has known about that Employment Authority data system, what documents do they have there, how clear are they, you know what I mean? So I thought, let's make this an open system, that people can come in. But also, what we'll be doing is that companies will be saying, I like this kind of skill, and we're able to go to National Employment Agency and say, okay, these are the kind of skills for ICT, these are the ones we interview, and we call them for an interview. So they're able to be interviewed for ICT, they're able to be interviewed for this, able to be interviewed for this, able to be interviewed for this. But we realize also, even those people, I mean, it is quite telling because a lot of people who came are also in this database, and some of them did not pass. You know, because it's not just a matter of being listed, it's also a matter of also opening this opportunity to many people. People coming from Moyale were not in the database, but they got hired. People coming from Nakuru, this girl, she was not in the database, she got hired. So at times it's good to diversify and tell the entire country what you're doing. So it doesn't seem to be just a few select people who have the advantage of having a smartphone or internet connection who are able to apply. The president is rolling out a very good program in constituencies where we'll have ICT hubs. Now it will be better for us because we'll be sure people have gone and registered. And I'll be able to tell people, I'm coming to this county, can you register? So that people are already registered, we've gone through everything. So when they come, the process is not manual, it's faster and moves on faster. For
so how many jobs do we have in the bag?
Right now we are looking at, for this Qatar, 3,000. But I'm looking at the National Employment Agency.
No, in terms of out of the 3,000.
Yes.
Because you're saying hospitality, capacity.
All taken.
Nursing, I guess there's still openings. So we're talking about how many people have gotten jobs. We
are looking at close to 2,000. We're at maybe 2,700.
So there's only 300 spots left.
Yeah, about 300, 400 slots left. That should be filled by tomorrow.
Wow. Before we let you go, Fred Obach-Machoka.
Yes, yes.
He's
the
watching
blackest man in Black Africa.
In Black Africa.
Yes, yes.
You know what he says? He says, this Sengenge ya ng'ombe that you mentioned.
Yes.
He says that's his slogan.
Oh, ni yake hiyo. Okay, yangu ni maendeleo chap chap.
Kuna mtu ameuliza ulikuwa unataka tuende afanye masonry na suti.
Ati when?
You wanted people to go be
No, they were
deal with
masonry
wearing
wearing. People are coming for electricity, masonry. They're wearing the overall. I mean, look at the pictures we are seeing now. I mean, they're not wearing suits, but they're dressed like fundis. You know, you come to job, you're wearing you come dressed like a fundi. You borrow an overall, you get an overall for somebody, you come wearing the proper shoes, then you look like you know what you're doing because that's what you're trained. This is what you need to do, you know, the skills. There's something I want to mention before I leave that's very important. What our TVETs are doing, including Kabete National Polytechnic, is something called recognition of prior learning. You get a lot of people have been masons, fundi, have been electricians, but they have never really gone through school. Wamejulia tu watu wa mkono, unaanza unakuwa fundi, ulianza kutengeneza dirisha kidogo, umekunja kuchuma, you become a steel fixer. So we'll be giving certificates of recognition of prior learning, whereby you go, they test you for your skill, and then they take you through some things that you need to know, like occupation hazards, and you're tested on a few things. Then you're given this one, so you don't have to go through school because you already have 5-7 years experience welding. Today they chose a lady, one of the best welders today was a lady, and she was hired. Very good welding lady, and she's never been to school probably. You know, amejulia huko jua kali, but she has the experience. Now she's taken through, you're given recognition of prior learning, you're talking about occupational health hazards, the law that governs your protection and all those things. Then you get a certificate and you get a job. Yeah, it's very something that we're doing as a government of Kenya Kwanza.
So you're enjoying your new portfolio, huh?
Yeah, me I enjoy all portfolios.
Tourism, foreign affairs,
Oh, I enjoy. You know, you're given work to do, you do, and it's not the portfolio. It's a commitment for in the country. You know, the president has an agenda, and he hires you to help him fulfill this agenda. So it doesn't matter what portfolio. It's like playing in a football team. Once you play in the back, at times you're in the center defender, at times you're in the midfielder, at times you're in left wing, right wing, at times you're attacking. As long as you win, and you win as a team, and it's all about teamwork.
What are you? Are you a striker now? Or? Dr. Alfred Mutua, good to see you.
Asante sana. All I can say is 3 words: mbele iko sawa.
I thought he was going to say Maendeleo chap chap, but okay, that too.
Well, you said it for me.
Dr. Alfred Mutua, Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection, talking about all these job offers. Look out for them, folks. There is more coming. Keep tweeting, and there's more news coming after the break. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff.
At Burrows at Citizen TV, Kenya.
Hashtag is Sunday Live. Sunday Live takes a break. We'll be back. It is exactly 23 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live here at Citizen Television. Now, Butere residents are yet again being treated to a night of terror as a machete-wielding gang killed 3 people and injured several others.
As Maria Nyambura reports, residents of Mundeku village are now appealing to the government to deal with the gang, which has meted horror on villagers over the last 3 months.
Mundeku village in Butere sub-county, Kakamega, has been plunged into mourning. On Saturday night, a machete-wielding gang raided the village, terrorizing residents at 1 a.m. and killed 3 family members, among them a university student.
Vile nilikimbia huko, nikamkuta mtoto bwana anga amekufa. Nikaangalia kabisa, nikamsongeza mahali alikuwa ameanguka huko, tamu ilikuwa tu tamu. Eskulus. Watu 3 wamekufa kwa familia moja. Ni huzuni sana, nitoka hapa kama tunaenda Butere.
Residents say the gang stormed the village, raised false alarm to lure the unsuspecting villagers out of their homes before descending on them with machetes.
Na watu walikuwa wakisema tu ni watu tu wawili, wezi wawili tumeshika, kumbe walikuwa hao wezi. Vile mtoto wangu alifika ndiye alikuwa wa kwanza, ndio alimkata shoka akaanguka. Sasa babake kwenda kumtetea, yeye pia akakatwa mdomo, akakatwa na mkono, akaanza mbio.
Jackson Abuko, who suffered a head injury, narrates how the gang was merciless.
Walikuwa 3, mmoja anifikia. Nilikuwa na panga saa hiyo, ananiambia weka chini panga yako. Niliweka. Namwambia sasa bwana, unataka kunibuira nini? Sisi si mwizi. Sisi na Abuko. Kwa nini unaue hivi bwana? Sasa ananiambia weka chini panga. Niliweka chini panga. Kumaliza kuweka hiyo chini panga, alichapa na shoka kwa kichwa.
Residents have criticized the police for failing to curb insecurity, despite continued attack by organized gangs in the area. 3 people are admitted at the Butere sub-county hospital in critical condition. Maria Nyambura, Citizen TV.
A disturbing trend that has drawn the attention of medics is emerging, where a growing number of young people in the prime of their lives are increasingly diagnosed with different forms of cancer.
That's right. Latest statistics show that nearly
in every 100,000 young people,
that's right,
22 of them
are most likely to be suffering from a form of cancer. As our very own Kamau Mwangi now reports, cancer survivors are calling on the government to streamline the new health system, as well as prioritize the construction of cancer centers across all 47 counties to ease their burden.
35-year-old Lois Geshuke felt her world was shattered when she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2018. Lois, who was then living in Malindi along Kenya's coastline, relocated to her rural home in Nyeri, where she stood a chance of getting treatment because the facilities in Malindi then could not offer any such service.
Nilipoambiwa niko na saratani ya matiti, maswali mingi ilikuja kwa akili yangu sana. Sasa mimi niko mdogo, nimepatikana na saratani, nitaenda wapi? Nitaanza wapi? Watu wetu watasema nini?
We met Lois at their home in Kagisha village, Othaya, where she has taken up tea plucking at their farm and other casual jobs as a means to supplement her treatment cost. She says the shift from NHIF to SHA has worsened her already bad situation.
Tukiangalia wakati ilikuwa NHIF, tulikuwa tunapata kama ni 800,000 unapata chemotherapy. Ukiangalia wakati huu sasa, SHA ni kweli watu wameregister, but haijatusaidia na haitusaidii. Ukinipatia tukipewa 400,000 kwa kila mtu yenye unafaa upate dawa na unafaa upate zile dawa na hizo zenye zinaendelea kama ni kupigwa picha like PET scan nini, hizo zote zinahesabiwa kwa hiyo pesa. Kwa hiyo pesa ile inaisha hata kama hujafika chemotherapy ya pili.
Embrace random and regular screenings. This is Lois's call to young people around the country, even as she maintains that being found with cancer is not a death sentence.
Kuna hii tunaita nipple.
On this day, Lois and other cancer survivors are at the Tetu Training and Vocational Institute. They are here to provide cancer awareness to college students here who are currently in the age group that is finding it hard to believe that cancer can affect them.
We also have cancers that are mainly for the youth.
especially between age 12 and 25. I've seen as young as 13 years. I've seen as old as 90.
Saratani ya matiti si eti tu ya guza watu ambao wana umri mkuu, hata vijana wanaweza patwa nayo.
According to the network of cancer organizations, in the year 2022, 22 out of every 100,000 young persons were suffering from a form of cancer. This was a steady rise compared to the statistics from 2 years earlier on. Medics blame unhealthy diets and most recently unsafe sexual practices.
HPV is sexually transmitted. It is also one of the causes of risk factors for many cancers. So we are also urging them to behave responsibly when it comes to sexual matters.
But if we behaved right.
Angeline Getuto, a Karatina University student pursuing a bachelor's in education art, was diagnosed with osteogenic sarcoma, a form of cancer that affects the long bones, in December 2022. She has had to get her leg amputated so that it doesn't spread to the rest of her body.
As we are celebrating this Breast Cancer Month, I would urge each one of you to go for checkups so that you can be sure that you don't have it. Early detection saves lives.
It's so unfortunate that people are coming late in stage 3 and stage 4, and that is why we are talking to the people that they should go out there and get screened. The earlier the better.
In August 2022, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta led the groundbreaking of a 60-bed capacity cancer center at the Dedan Kimathi University, a facility that was meant to take care of cancer patients in central and northern Kenya who bear the brunt of traveling long distances to seek treatment. That facility to date remains a dream.
So I believe when we have that cancer center fully functional and fully equipped, we will reduce the burden by half, because we will have a cancer center that is fully fledged to always even have screening going around throughout the year, and our people will also have the right treatment.
And as the struggle against this disease continues, cancer survivors are appealing to the government to equip health facilities to ease the burden.
So we have to move from here to Nairobi to look for that treatment, maybe for PET scan, for radiotherapy, for us to be on the safe side.
Unaenda huko Kishana na huko Kenyatta na kuko na laini kubwa sana, unaenda kila wiki, unaenda kuja wiki nyingine, hii wiki unaenda kuja nyingine. Tafadhali mtuletee hii mashini ya radiotherapy huku Nyeri kwa sababu tuko na shida sana.
Yes, oh yes.
Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV, Kagisha Village, Othaya in Nyeri County.
In other news, President William Ruto has led the nation in mourning former Education Principal Secretary Karega Mutahi. Now, Professor Karega has been eulogized as a hard-working administrator who distinguished himself in public service.
Karega, whose passing was announced at the All Saints Cathedral, is credited with spearheading education reforms in higher education under the Grand Coalition government. And as Kamau Mwangi reports, a memorial in his honor is slated for Wednesday afternoon at the cathedral.
Credited for spearheading reforms in higher learning, Professor Mutahi Karega breathed his last on Thursday, October 24th. His passing on was announced earlier today at the All Saints Cathedral by Provost Ivan Somolo. Mutahi served in the Grand Coalition government led by late President Mwai Kibaki and former Premier Raila Odinga. Mutahi is remembered as a man who is said to have been pragmatic in carrying out his duties, always getting assignments right and getting the work done.
It is simply that in the account reporting, 2 lots of money was put on one account.
In mourning the late professor, President William Ruto on his X account said Mutahi's vast knowledge in the education sector helped greatly improve the management and delivery of teaching, as well as the learning of Kenya's children. Professor Olive Mugenda, the chairperson of the Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital, in her condolence message, cited Professor Karega's guidance in the operationalization of the hospital as one for the history books. She said his contribution to the education sector and KUTRRH in that critical operationalization committee will find its place in the book pages when the story is written. May Professor Mutahi's soul rest in peace after an illustrious and effective public service career. The Kiriaini-born professor's career in the education sector started from his background as a secondary school teacher, rising through the ranks to the position of PS. A memorial service in his honor is slated for Thursday, 31st October at 10 a.m. at the All Saints Cathedral. Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
Any man from the Turkana community, despite his education or status, has to strictly adhere to the community's traditions. One such tradition that is highly upheld is that of marital rights.
That's right. Now, the rights are taken so seriously that should a couple bear children under the come we stay arrangement, the man loses the right over his children to his wife's family. When the time comes for his children to get married, all the dowry will be paid to the uncles unless the marriage between the couple is solemnized traditionally.
Emily Chebet brings us a story of a man who has been married for 17 years and who had to perform a traditional wedding in order to reclaim his children.
A rhythmic beating begins. Drums echoing through the village. Friends and family raising their voices in song while surrounding this house that is hosting Thomas Humphrey Amoni and his wife Anne Amoni. Today, two hearts that have been together for 17 years will become one, according to the Turkana culture, and the entire community joins in the celebration.
Unaweza zaa watoto 100 na kama hujaoa si wako. Ona ile hasara unapata. Wapeleke shule, wasomeshe, wapeleke ngambo. Wakati wanaolewa mali yote inaenda kwa jamii ya mke wako. So kama wewe unataka mwanaume, unataka kusema kwamba watoto ni wako, lazima ufanye harusi tamaduni.
The traditional wedding is happening at the wife's homestead, different from the normal weddings where it is a man's homestead. Here, the wife and her children are kept away from the man from morning to evening.
Mila na tamaduni ya Ng'aa. So sisi tunatengwa kwanza na watoto. Tunakaa mahali pale, sherehe ikiendelea, wazee wakiwa mahali pao, kwa mama, wasichana, kila mtu akiwa kando kando na shughuli za utamaduni.
Nyumba inapiga kiboko kwa ishara ya kwamba ni mapenzi. Manyumba wawili hao wamependana. Na ishara hiyo kiboko sio kiboko ya kila mti, kiboko ya mti inaitwa edome.
In Turkana culture, a wedding is more than a union. It is a tapestry of culture, a vibrant celebration where every dance step echoes the heartbeat of a community and the unbreakable bonds that tie them together. Humphrey must complete the culture by piercing a bull with a spear in order to be considered a father to his children, where he can enjoy what fatherhood entails. Before then, the children were considered to belong to their uncles.
In my family, I have 2 sons and 3 daughters. God willing, if my daughters, they will be married tomorrow. So it means all the wealth, I'll be the one gaining, or my family, they will be the one benefiting to it.
Traditions and rituals of this kind are held here. The bride and groom and their children are given the final blessings by being smeared with clay, and a piece of goat's intestine is wrapped on their bodies.
Unaona ni white. So wakati wameweka hapa ni ya mbuzi. So hiyo sasa ni kupeana kusili kabisa official. Jana tumenini hiyo ng'ombe. Hiyo jana tumenini. So baada ya kuua hiyo kondoo ya sasile sasa ni kusili officially, alafu mnapewa maji ya baraka, muende sasa muishi familia yenu.
Na hii kitu ambayo hii nyama ambayo umeona imewekwa hapa hivi ni sili ambayo inaonyesha kwamba kila kitu imekuwa sawa, watu wangu wameridhika, watu wangu wamefurahia.
After the 3-day traditional wedding, the bridegroom is happy to have fulfilled one of the pillars of Turkana traditions and customs. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All right, nice story there. Huh?
Very colorful.
Yeah. Excellent.
Good to know. Didn't know.
Absolutely. By the way, we have a correction on a story we reported about a couple of minutes ago.
Yes, we do.
It was on the former PS for Education, Karaga Mutahi. The memorial service in his honor will be slated for Thursday.
Yeah, not
at
Wednesday.
the All Saints Cathedral, right?
Yeah.
Not Wednesday.
Not Wednesday.
It's going to be on Thursday, okay? Just FYI.